Hello to everybody out there. As John has said, we're going over the new product today, CrossLink Online. So it's very simple to get to. All you have to do is open up your Google Chrome browser and go to crosslinkonline.com. And we're going to be going through the login stage, the lay of the land, what's new, and the features within CrossLink Online. And then I'll finish it up with just doing a very simple return within the platform. So to go through the login stage, you have a username just like we all do for all these different websites out there. And I'm going to type mine in. And then we hit login. And then as you go through the process, if you're just activating your account today or any day in the future, you will get an email from CrossLink and it will have a blue activate button. And you activate that link, you'll create a password, and then you'll be able to log into the platform. But there's something that's new with these new online platforms is having to authenticate. Just like we go through your bank website and you go on log into a new device, you have to get maybe a code sent to your email or your phone. We have the same process here within CrossLink, but very easy and simple to use. You have two ways to verify your account. One is called Google Authenticator, and you can either download the app on your mobile device, smartphone, Apple, or Android, and you can scan what's called a QR code. And that way, your verification code will be on your phone at all times. The second way might be simpler for some people, will be just getting a code sent to your email. And to do that, you would choose the bottom option here, get code email to, and your email will be masked, but you will get a code very, very quickly to verify your account. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use enter code from app. I have the Google Authenticator app on my phone. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And it's called the confirmation key. So once you see your account on the app, I go ahead and enter in this 6-digit code. And we also have provide friendly label. So this can label your device so you don't have to keep authenticating your platform or your device throughout the day. So I can call this desktop. And now I hit continue. And once you're in, you come into your landing page, your home page of CrossLink Online. And it looks just like this, minus maybe you haven't added the widgets, and I'll get to those soon. But I'm going to go over the lay of the land, how we navigate within the online platform, and then we'll get into the tax return. So I just like to highlight, as you're following along today, it may go fast or it may go slow. But anytime you need help navigating within CrossLink Online when you first log in, you will be presented with a tour. And that tour would actually take you through this landing page and show you what each of these features are. And if you ever need to access that tour, you can find it in the help icon menu. So you click on help, and then you have these two guided tours. One is going to say get to know this page, which is what I'm about to take you guys through. And one would be complete office setup, which will take you through office setup such as entering your preparers, your logins, and your billing scheme, and all of those detailed things for your business. So those are two really handy ways to get to know the platform. The second link here is our remote tax support link. If you ever call into our tech support, they will gladly do a screen share. So whenever they ask for that, that's where you're going to find that link. Now we're going to start on the left-hand side, which is called the side navigation bar. And it's kind of this darker gray over here where I'm moving the mouse. And we have some different options here at this office level. And this is what your single office will look like. You will come in and you have your dashboard, which is also another name for your home page. And then underneath that, you have calendar. When you click on calendar, this is just a nice way where you can create your appointments and you can have these different tabs here, this week, upcoming, and past. So today it looks like I have an appointment today for Harry Smith and he's a new customer. And I can click on it and it's going to give me my details. And then you can just hit create new appointment here at the top and you can fill in everything as you need. Very nice and simple. We have a new feature called secure messages. Secure Messages is an internal communication tool between you, the ERO, and your preparers or any staff members you have. So you can send a message to a preparer by just clicking on Secure Messages and then New Message. And now I have my preparer drop down menu and I can select Tom. And I can write a message to Tom. And I'll just say, new client coming in. And then this would be sent to him. And Tom can also respond to your message. So you could have a two-way communication right here within CrossLink Online and not have to worry about calling him or emailing or even texting him on your phone. We're keeping that communication for you nice, easily within CrossLink Online. And as you see, we have received and sent, so you can keep a track of all of those. Following down the side nav bar, we have checks. If you're partnered with one of our banks that we can print within the platform, this is where you will come at the office level and you can print the checks for that office. Another new feature we rolled out this year is called the Refund Calculator. The Refund Calculator is a nice, easy way of getting a tax estimate for your client. It's using our interview mode, and just to demonstrate, we can click on these boxes, and those are what we're qualifying as tax preparer. So I'll select single. I could put in a birthday, hit next. And if they have any children, you can mark the boxes here. And then you can get to these different categories that will also represent forms for the tax return. So I can hit on W-2, and I can put in his wage. And then I can also just tab on any of these and enter those amounts in. But just to show, at the very end, we have what's called the results page. And this would give your estimate to your taxpayer, and then this way they can, see what that estimate will look like for them. But if they choose to have you do their tax return, we do have the button Create Return. And all that would do is now prompt you to add a social. If you caught in the beginning, I didn't have to add a social. I just went ahead and started filling in the basic information, and now I'll add the social to start the tax return. And another nice feature is that when you add the tax return, it will auto-populate those forms of those different categories I filled out. So this is a nice new feature that CrossLink has rolled out for both CrossLink Online and CrossLink Desktop. But for right now, I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to go back to our home page so this way we can continue on there. So I'll hit confirm. And now we're back to our overview or dashboard page. So I went through our side nav bar. I was at the refund calculator, and the last one is reporting. If you're coming from desktop, a lot of the features and functionality is the same. We have extended reports. Extended reports is a report that you, the ERO or staff member, can build. And all you have to do is click on New Report, and you can pick and choose different features that you would like to have in that report. So we have everything listed here. You can scroll through, select those fields, and then you can build your report, and it will be pinned to your CrossLink Online portal here. So I hit cancel. And just right here, you'll see a report name, hit run report, and that will generate that report that you have saved. So clicking back to dashboard, because I want to go back to the home page. Now we're going to move up to the top where we have our top tabs here. So we have overview, preparers, and tax returns. Overview is again just another way to get back to the home page. And then we have preparers. And when you click on preparers, you'll see a list of all your preparers within this office. So right now I only have one, Tom, and I can go ahead and click on there. And you can see that he has any rejects or how many returns. He's only done one return so far. And if I wanted to go into Tom's view, I can hit view. And now if you notice, I am now into another level because we have breadcrumbs keeping track at the top, where I have exit to my dashboard, which bring me back as the arrow to my office overview page. And then I can see prepare Tom. So right now I would be viewing as if I was Tom doing a tax return. And this is his platform here. And this will look very similar to the work in progress page, like our now 1040, where you have the queues of your tax returns. And here it's telling me he has one tax return. It's just an e-filed return. And I would see different stages of each of his tax returns. And then also on the left-hand side, he doesn't have access to reports, for example, or checks, because he's just a preparer. And then this is his level. So just know that as the office admin, you can drill down into each of your preparers by just clicking on that view button. That's what that does. And I'll finish up with the tax returns tab. It's just a nice collection point of all the tax returns that are being done in the office. You'll see them done here. And we also have a customize where you can now, just like 1040 on that client lookup screen, you can see the different columns and filter through those columns of the information you would like. So if I would like to see the filing status or the e-fund and federal refund amount, I can just select these boxes, hit apply, and then my columns here expanded, but now I have different ways to search through the tax return. And we also have the drop-down menu here where you can continue to filter that way. To start a tax return, you just hit the blue button that says New Return. So you hit that button and then you'll put in the social. But I'll come back to that. Just give me a sec. I want to continue just going through the setup of everything. So I covered, you have search here. So as you see, when you hit on search, it opens up this nice little pop-up window and you can search by preparers or tax return. So I left that there and I can do Tom and he comes up right there. I already briefly described the help menu, but that's where you'll find your guided tours. And then we have what's called the profile menu. And up here is where you'll see your username. And then you can hit on this little down arrow and you can see the different settings within the profile menu. I just want to highlight a few things in here. We have switch. That's how you would access tax year 2018. You would just hit switch and then you would choose the drop down menu. We have generate new QR code. And that's really nice and important. Again, I mentioned a Google Authenticator. So if you're on this call and you may have passed that when you were logging in and you would like to use the Google Authenticator, all you have to do is click on that little arrow by your name and then click on generate new QR code. You would enter your password, scan the QR image with your phone with the app open, and then you'll be able to use that way of verifying your account. And then we have some similar things. I want to touch on capture signature. If I click on that, this is my ERO signature. So when you're logging in as that ERO, just go ahead and go there real quick. So this way your signature populates on all the tax returns and the bank documents, and you're not having to manually sign. And you can use a Topaz or on-screen signature. So like I said, I have my computer mouse here and I can sign in the box, but we'll just leave it as ERO for today. Just clicking back in. We have setup. So if you click into setup, that's going to bring you into your office setup of your billing logins and entering your preparers. And then we have login preferences. And just to finish up with the setup feature of this, this is where you can choose what kind of e-signatures you're gathering. When the client may be physically located in your office, or yourself when you're signing a tax return, you can choose between on-screen, Scriptel, or Topaz. And then we have the necessary drivers needed for those devices. At the top, we have Start New Returns in Interview Mode. So if you would like to default your login to be using interview mode when doing a tax return, all you have to do is select this button right here, and then you can do so. Okay, so I'm going to unselect it. I like the forms way, but I'll touch on interview for today. So I'm going to hit save, and I'll hit overview. And now I'm back on my home screen. I would like to touch on these nice new widgets that we have right here on the top. We have these two widgets, tax returns submitted and notifications. If you notice, I have this add new widget button. So widgets are kind of replicating a work in progress page again if you're coming from the desktop solution. It's a nice way that you're going to be able to keep track of your tax returns in the different stages. And then I have a notifications widget that's letting me know, hey, I have a secure message that my um, admin maybe sent me or a preparer sent me. So I can click on that and I can see what it was sent. And that was the hey, new client coming in that I wrote earlier today. So that's a nice new way that you can see your messages right at your home screen. And to add or install a widget, all you have to do is click add new widget. And then we have these four widgets here displayed at the office level. So I installed the donut widget and the notifications widget. But if I wanted to go ahead and install the fees widget, all I have to do is hit free and then install, and I'll hit close. Now that tile, that widget is now added to my home screen. And I can even click right here and I can drag and move and organize these widgets however I may like it. And all it's going to do is just push down your recently viewed preparers list, which is perfectly fine. So you can go ahead and install your widgets, and like I said, they would be able to be filtering data of your tax returns or your fees being collected for your office. I'll touch on a tax return submitted widget right here. We have the different stages: accepted, pending, rejected, and queued. And you can go ahead and once you start filing, you will actually be able to click on one of these categories and drill into those specific returns. So that's how we expect these widgets to be working. So you could just drill into those returns and look at that different filter of them. So with that, wrapping up, I would, for our overview of CrossLink Online, that is the basic functionality within CrossLink Online and its new features. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get into how we would start a tax return and the new features with that. So I'm going to hit view into my preparer. I'm going to be Tom today. And then I'm going to go over to the tax returns tab, and I'm going to hit new return. And we also have this drop down arrow. That's where you'll be able to import your mobile app returns from TaxPass. So I just wanted to let you know that will be compatible this season. But for today, we're going to hit create new return. Let me fix my social here. And I'll hit add. As it opens up, I just want to, say that the functionality of doing a tax return is almost identical to our desktop program. It looks even the same as you opened up here. We're at the client data screen, and it just looks the same but in a different color. So we can fill out your client data going all the way forward here. And we actually implemented some red fields to show that it's required. And we kept the side navigation bar, which is kind of called attached forms list, on the left hand side under the general and federal. So I can still see the federal forms being built onto the return. I can hit add form and access all the other forms or state forms that would be needed for the tax return. But for just a little time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and plug in some very simple information here. And as we're filling out the tax return, I would like to say that you can still continue to use tab or enter to go through the fields, as that's what I am doing right now. And we want to make sure we're capturing this email address. And then if you wanted to go ahead and, select text message or their cell phone carrier, you can enter in all that information. But I'm going to drop down to filing status. So I like to stop here because you may not know what to enter in this field, especially if you're brand new to CrossLink. We use numbers to identify our filing status, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but you may not knew that. But if you look, I just have my cursor in that field, and we have that nice gray window, or very thin gray window that popped up, and it's telling me 1 for single, 2 married filing joint, and 4 of head of household, and so on. So just know as you click throughout the fields, it's telling you what to enter. In desktop, we would say when you don't know, you look below, but now we're just going to say look at the field you're in because we have this nice little pop-up message that's telling you what's required for that field. So don't worry when you don't know exactly if it's an X or a number or a letter. We're just going to go ahead and enter that one that's claimed to be a filing status. So I enter in an address now. And then we can fill out my city and state and zip code. And I'll scroll down and it looks just the same. We have our bank information if you wanted to enter the taxpayer's PIN number, bank information. But another nice thing we had choices. You know, you look for that choices button down below to enter in your bank routing number because the program is a dynamic database, so it automatically saved for you. But you can click on Alt-C on the keyboard, and that's going to open up that choices window that we're used to saying. So I can go ahead and select this bank routing number, and then there we go, it auto-populated for you. So I just went over a few new things, how you're going to reference some stuff in CrossLink Online. We have Alt-C to open up that choices window, and when to enter a field, what to enter into a field. You just want to look at the nice little message that's underlining that field. So let me finish up real quick. This is the healthcare marketplace question. As you know, the new tax laws, if you listen to our previous webinar about IRS updates, and there's another one coming in January, you'll know that there are no more penalties for this. So it's very easy to fill out now. You just have to answer the question if they purchased insurance through the marketplace in 2019. If they did, you would enter a Y or an X for yes. And if they didn't, you just leave it blank. You don't need to do anything. Down below is where you enter in your dependents. And then you will go ahead and you can populate those codes. Very similar to 1040. That's all we do. It's just exactly the same. And then we'll go to the left-hand side and I'll click on Add Form. And I will add a form here. And it has my W-2 right on top, but I can actually type in that box and I can maybe type in a schedule and it's bringing me up all those schedules. So you can now, your search features on the top. And then we have also the index, Performa, state, and then your depreciation when we get into that. Though that's still the same type of window where you'll find all your federal forms, state forms, and your asset table. But for today, we're just sticking very simple. We're going to go within W-2, hit add. And then as it loads, I'm going to go ahead and we kept the same, functionality. I have Alt-C again because I put in some information. We're going to say Sally worked at Marvel Inc. And then we'll put in a wage number. And if you notice, our calculations are really fast. There's no refresh button on this page in CrossLink Online. We're calculating as you're just typing in the field, so you don't have to worry about hitting refresh or going into another form to get stuff to populate. These numbers are going to change as you're just entering in the numeric values. Once I'm done with my W-2, I will go to my 8879 because we want to determine our filing status. So going to keep it simple today. I'm going to just put a 2 for direct deposit from IRS. And then I get that refund question. Make sure you're collecting your prep fees, which I'll get to with the invoice, and I'll hit OK. And then, we have my EFIN. It's populated. A lot of information is auto-populated within here. We made a taxpayer's PIN. And then I have my preparer information here. And again, as long as you do your office setup like it's displayed here, all this information should follow through with that. So I can hit select for my preparer and his PTIN populated automatically. So once I fill out my 8879, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show the invoice so we can gather our prep fees. And right here, if I scroll down on the first section, description of services and charges, I can enter on line 7 just a prep fee number amount here, say $200, and I can label that prep fee. And if you have any discounts or charges built into your billing setup, just know those are on line 6 for a predefined charged, or down in discounts, it's line 2 for a discount to be applied if you set it up that way. Once you enter in your prep fees, the next step would be to verify your return. So verify is going through the same method. We just hit on verify, and it's going to bring up if I have any errors, and it looks like I do. So I'm just going to hit view and fix, and it's bringing me right into that error. It's pointing to error collection. It looks like I missed the taxpayer cell phone. I think I required that in my office setup, so that is why. And I can hit enter, and now it's bringing me into my next error. And I had marked that they wanted to receive a text message, but I never filled out a carrier. So I'll just go ahead and get that populated. And as you see, verify is going through very, very simple here. Okay. And I would just like to touch on, so now we got that message, verify success. Great, that's what we want. So I hit OK. And then we can, at this point, we can go ahead and print and transmit and gather signatures. So with that, I can go up to the print menu here, and there's a little arrow. And when you're ready, you can hit final tax return. And I'm just going to go through some, features here. So if I hit print, I can now either print the tax return and it'll go to a PDF, or it could print automatically from your computer. Sign document with e-signature. If I hit sign doc, that's going to mean that the taxpayer is in front of me and they're gathering their signature with either on-screen signature, a topaz, or a script towel. They're here physically in front of me and they're going to sign electronically. Capture signatures remotely. Remote sign means that you're going to send either a text message or an email to your taxpayer, and they're going to review the tax documents, and then they're able to sign, and then that message comes back to you, and then you can transmit the return. So remote sign is, they could be in your office, but you're sending it electronically to them to sign, and signed document means they're physically doing it with you in your office. So that's the difference between the two. With that, I'll hit close. And I would just like to touch on features that came over is a document archive. We have the document archive, which is a folder for each taxpayer within the return, and they can upload your documents into CrossLink Online, and it's in their folder of their tax return, as what I kind of describe it as, and you can have their documents here to help you be paperless. All you have to do is click on Document Archive when you're inside the tax return, and it'll come up to the screen, and you just hit Add New Document. And then you'll hit Browse if you have a regular scanner, or maybe they emailed it to you, and it will browse your computer, and then it's like uploading a file to your Google Drive or anything like that, but you're doing it within CrossLink Online. And then I'll hit Cancel there. And just note, the only thing that is different, if you notice, on our toolbar here is transmit return. We don't have queue. So if you're not going to see queue. It's just transmit. So when you're done with the tax return, you verified and you print, you can transmit the tax return right here with inside of it, and then it will go off and it'll be filed. If you did have somebody who you didn't want transmitting, just as a disclaimer, there are access levels for that. So this way they're not transmitting the tax returns. You can control that as a admin or ERO of your office. And I'm going to hit save and close because the last thing to show that's brand new with the program is kind of a nice little summary page. So I'm actually going to hit open on Sally Roger, the return we just did. And when you hit that open, it actually comes to this summary page. This is new. So you actually have your basic taxpayer information at the top, their social, the tax year you're in, and their refund amount. And then you actually have two different categories. You have the general and the federal, just like that attached forms list when you open the tax return. So you can actually, I call them like shortcut buttons. If I wanted to hit go right into the invoice, it's going to open me an invoice. I no longer have to go to the client data and then click on invoice. So those are the different, that's the summary page. It just brings you to those exact moments within that. And then I'll actually hit back to all tax returns because I did want to just briefly show that we have interview mode within CrossLink Online. So I'll start another new return. And as that's opening up, if you notice, interview mode is a function key on the top. All we're going to do is, since I have it starting as forms based, I'll just hit on interview mode. And we have the tiles, these different icons, and all you do is select what you would like for this type of tax return. So I could say married, children, and have a job. And if you don't like the icons, you can hit click here, switch detail to script mode. All it's going to do is switch it to word based, script based, and you won't see the little icons anymore. But the way interview mode works is you hit next, and then you would fill out your filing status. And I won't take us through another complete return, but just to show the basic overall layout, you'll get your taxpayer's information. And then this is the client data screen broken up into three different pages here. So if you look on the left-hand side, there's another category now called Interview Express Icon. And you actually have a tree built here with about 7 different categories. And you can go in between those categories as you please. I can jump to adjustments and deductions. And then I would select the tiles here, and it auto-populates those forms for me. Or I just enter the amount. So I can just select those few really quick. And now I'm here having to put in those amounts. And then the forms are actually add under the federal section. So that's how you can use interview mode. And the nice thing about it is that I'm not locked in interview mode. I can start the tax return in interview mode, and I can click on add form. And then I can actually go ahead and go into the schedule too if I want. So we like to keep that open for you guys. Whatever is quickest way for you to get through a tax return is good for you guys and good for us. So that's how you can use interview mode through CrossLink Online or the desktop if you're listening in. It's just a very nice, easy way to get through answering the questions of a tax return. So with that, I'm just going to close out this tax return here. And you always get the message, save changes before closing. I'll hit no, just because I don't need that. But then we have the 3 tax returns I started. And I'll click back on the overview. And if you remembered, I was drilled in as my preparer, Tom. So I'm going to hit exit to my dashboard. And now I'm back on my office admin view. That's how I logged in as. And now I can see that Tom actually grew to 3 returns from 1. And I'm back at my home page. So with that, I'll gladly turn it over back to John, and we can see if we have any questions.
Priscilla, thank you very much for taking us through this. A lot of information, and it went very quick for everybody. So if you have questions in regards to the CrossLink Online product or completing the basic return in there, please go ahead and enter your questions on the questions dialog box on the right. All right, we've got a couple questions coming in here. Priscilla, you touched on this one towards the end of the presentation, which is the ability for the tax office to the owner to be able to set different access levels. And I don't know that you're logged into a profile that you can show this, but maybe you can speak to it, and that's the ability to have an oversight as to what's happening within your tax office based on access levels or even audit or return.
Definitely. So yeah, I can switch in and I can show where you can find those access levels. So you want to do that at the office level when you're logged in. Again, you want to go to your profile menu, which is by clicking on that little arrow, and then you'll click on Setup. And then you go to Logins. And right here, at the bottom, you see this little down arrow. You hit on access levels. So these are the access levels that we have defaulted and provided. And what I like to say is, if you have somebody who you don't want to transmit a tax return, you can. Right now, it's labeled feeder. And I'll hit View, and you can see here they have access to these different things, but at the very bottom, they do not have access to transmit a tax return. They will actually hit transmit and it will say submit for review. So that's how you get to the access levels, and you can customize these. So I can hit add new, and you can label it a different name, you can say, and you can pick and choose what that access level has. So this is where you would create your access level, and then we would go ahead and hit edit on that login, and then you would hit access level.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sorry if I was talking in the background. I was thought I was on mute. I apologize. All right. So one of the other questions that's come in is the Performa. So bringing in returns from if you were a CrossLink 1040 desktop user previously, are you able to bring in your returns and carry that information forward? And the short answer is yes, but any color you wanted to add to that, Priscilla, feel free to do so.
Correct answer, yes. Within the 1040 product, if you update your software from, I believe, version 47 and higher, and go to your utility menu, you'll see a new option to transfer returns online. And you just want to make sure your online platform is set up and configured first, and then you will go through that process. But we can definitely convert your 1040 returns to CrossLink Online.
Okay, perfect. And there's a couple questions on that. So hopefully that answers the question. You know, it's interesting. One of the questions that's come up, Priscilla, and I'll give a quick overview and then you can expand upon it, is do we have a recommendation for what's the quickest way to complete a return within CrossLink Online? And one of the nice things we like to say about CrossLink Online is that it grows with your preparers, it grows with your business. So you could have some preparers doing interview mode, and that's quicker for them because they don't aren't as familiar with all the forms, so they can ask the questions and then the proper forms will populate. You may have an experienced preparer who just wants to fly through and do forms-based. So the short answer is it depends on the preparer, but ultimately your more experienced preparers are probably going to want to do a forms-based return, as they will be able to move through that just as quick, or if not quicker, than if they were an interview. But Priscilla, if you have anything to add to that, feel free.
No, John, you answered that great. Yep, it's definitely on that preparer experience and which method they would like.
Okay. All right, so next question that comes up is that once you fill out the refund calculator and you're able to transfer are you able to transfer the data onto the forms correctly? And I believe you showed that, but maybe you can briefly touch on that again.
Yes, I didn't show how we converted to a tax return, but when you add the social at the very end, it would start the tax return, and it would, like I did a W-2. It would enter the amounts on the W-2 for you.
All right. Thank you, Priscilla. One of the other questions that has come up is prior year forms. And, we will like to highlight that this is a new product, a new solution. So you have the current year's forms in this product. We don't have prior year forms in CrossLink Online. Again, Priscilla, keep me honest. But if you have a need for prior year forms, I would suggest you talk to technical support or your account team and they can work with you to resolve that through something like CrossLink 1040 Desktop. But Priscilla, any guidance you can give on that front would be appreciated.
Yeah, so just prior year, maybe just going back to tax year 2018, you can go actively into tax year 2018 by going to the profile menu, switch, and then you have your tax year here. So I would go into 2018 if you needed to do a tax return in that year or access a converted return if you pushed your data forward, you can do that. Anything prior, I would speak to tech support or your sales rep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm going through some of these questions. One of the nice things about this, one of the questions that's come up is in regards to, I'm a Macintosh user, can I use this? And the answer to that is yes, you can absolutely use this as a Macintosh user. Previously on our desktop, you would have been a PC user only. We can now support both PC and Macintosh or Apple products. Theoretically, if you want to, you can do this on a mobile device as well. Screen real estate may become an issue for you, but it can be supported across multiple platforms. Just a couple high-level questions that I'll take a shot on, and then Priscilla, please jump in as you need to. One of the questions, and this really has to do with, a lot of these questions have to do with if you're a current 1040 desktop user, CrossLink 1040 desktop user, and you're moving to CrossLink Online, will your login be the same? And the short answer to that is no. And Priscilla, you can probably add a little bit of color to how you set up your login and password in CrossLink Online.
Yes. So if you're an account owner, you'll be received an activation email, and that would actually display your username. So that's actually for anyone. When either an account owner generates a login for a preparer, that email is going to show you your username. So if you're an account owner directly with CrossLink, it's going to be your account code. That's what you will log in with, your account code, and then you create that password when you activate your link. And to create a login, again, we're going to set up and then logins and just create new login. And just, disclaimer out there, you have to provide a username and an email address because they need to get the activation link. For the username, make it, generic. There are a lot of Toms, Bobs, Sallys out there. So maybe first name, last initial, maybe their full name. Just kind of get creative with that. And then email address. I like for everyone to have their own email address. So this way, when they hit forgot password, it's going to them and they can establish their password. So just keep that in mind when you're creating these logins.
Excellent. Thank you, Priscilla. One of these questions, just to avoid any confusion on naming conventions, CrossLink Desktop 1040. This is our flagship product that we've had for years. It's installed on your desktop. CrossLink Hosted is a login version. You'll have to talk to your account team. It's for very specific situations. But CrossLink Hosted and CrossLink Online are two very different products. CrossLink Online is what you're looking at. There is no download, and this is one of the other questions we see. There is no download involved with this product as it is an online product. There is nothing for you to download. Okay, so just be aware of that. Yes, just as a reminder, all your information, if you are a 1040 desktop user, Priscilla, you can touch on this, but we do have a ability to convert your 1040 information over to CrossLink Online.
You can, and it's in a desktop program. You could call support if you have a trainer. We could walk you through that. When you open up CrossLink 2019, you're going to update your software, and you want to be at update 47 and higher. And then you are going to go to the utility menu, and you're going to select transfer online returns. With that, you'll be prompted to log in at the office level. So the office admin wants to put in their credentials, and then it will load the tax returns up into CrossLink Online here in tax year 2018. So the same process will work, just like you're moving from desktop year to year. All these prior year returns from tax year 2018 will show in tax year 2018 and CLO, CrossLink Online. And when you enter the social in tax year 2019, the current season coming up, it will pull forward their data, just like it used to in desktop. So that's how you would go through that process.
Excellent. Thank you. One of the questions that comes up is prior to a client signing their tax returns and other necessary forms, is there a client-friendly way to share the forms with them? Obviously, we can do that from the screen. We can print that out, and they can also do it via our mobile apps, correct?
So yeah, if you want to share the return with them, or maybe a form of the return, you can definitely go into. Hold on, let me just show you real fast. So let's say I wanted to show the 1040 to one of my taxpayers, and that's the whole tax return. Well, I can go to actually print and then current form only, and I could show them the current form only, and that could be a PDF view. Or you could go to preview return, and that would show them the whole tax return as a preview. So you have these few different ways to do that. Right now in the mobile app, you're not going to see the full tax return as a preview in the mobile app.
Okay, thank you. An interesting question here, and this is something we want to make clear, is that CrossLink Online and CrossLink Desktop are two different products. It's not the same product with two different interfaces. So no, you will not be able to see your CrossLink Desktop returns in CrossLink Online, or your CrossLink Online returns in CrossLink 1040 Desktop. Those are two different products that you will have purchased. In most cases, there is no need to purchase both products. You select which one you want to operate in for that year. Okay. Let's see. When will we'll use this. This is a great way to wrap up. If you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your CrossLink account team or CrossLink technical support, and we'd be happy to answer any additional questions that we may not have gotten to. I believe I've answered the majority of them here with Priscilla, but there is one, and that's pretty basic, which is, when is CrossLink Online going to be available? And the good answer, the short answer for everybody is, it's available now. So you can utilize CrossLink Online today. Okay. With that, I would like to thank Priscilla. I know we've covered a wide range of topics, quite a bit of information in short order for everyone. You can currently see on the screen right now our social media pages. We do invite you to join the conversation. As we said, we do this to share information that's pertinent to you and your business through the tax season. But most importantly, for the questions for today, is please sign up on the YouTube page, subscribe to the CrossLink page, and anytime we post a new video, including a recording of today's, you will be notified via email. With that, that concludes today's presentation. We look forward to seeing you again on a future CrossLink webinar. Thank you.